Okay, so bienvenidos todos. Muchas gracias por ah, elegir de pasar estos próximos 2 días con nosotros y con las enseñanzas de maestra Marta Ramírez. Vamos a darles más información de nuestra maestra en unos cuantos minutos, pero les queríamos nomás dar las gracias por primeramente elegir de aprender más sobre nuestras prácticas culturales y ancestrales. También les queremos nomás recordar, yo sé que esta mañana para las personas que estén aquí en California, so agarren su cafecito, su tecito, su pan dulce, lo que necesiten para que puedan estar aquí presente. Y vamos a comenzar con vamos a repasar nuestras normas de chat, nomás para que todos sepan cuáles son las expectativas que tenemos para la colectiva, ¿verdad? Primeramente, este taller es patrocinado por el AIPA, que es la Alianza de Pueblos Indígenas en Los Ángeles ahora estamos el sur oeste, oriental, ¿así se dice? Southwest. Um,
Oeste.
Oeste, ¿verdad? Y también queremos dar las gracias a Shinachli, Rites of Passage y el Instituto de Shinachli para personas que son facilitadoras de la currícula Shinachli. Esto es parte de nuestro Technical Assistance, ya que es uno de los de las enseñanzas que hemos incluido en esta currícula. Otra vez, muchas gracias a nuestros patrocinadores y muchas gracias a ustedes y su patrocinación, ya que todos aquí dieron donación para poder estar aquí. Todos estos recursos nos van a ayudar para asegurar que podamos traer más enseñanzas culturales y ancestrales y más talleres para nuestra comunidad, ¿verdad? Ok, so aquí pueden ver que aquí hemos incluido algunas expectativas y aquí vamos a enseñarlas en español también. Primeramente, nomás aseguré que usted sepa que usted es libre de comer, estirarse y moverse como usted quiera. No tienen que pedir permiso por el autocuidado. Yo sé que 3, 4 horas estar sentado puede ser mucho, por favor no tienen que pedir permiso, si se tienen que acostar, lo que sea necesario, por favor háganlo. Ustedes son expertos de su propia experiencia. También nosotros a veces para saber si están enfocados, queremos verlos en sus Hollywood Squares, es como le llamamos. Pero sí, nosotros entendemos que a veces es mucho estar en cámara todo el tiempo. Si los apoya, por favor pueden poner su cámara en pause y volver a subir su cámara ya cuando se sientan mejor. Les pedimos también que tengan su mic, su micrófono apagado durante el tiempo que estemos en grupo grande, pero si usted quiere compartir o cuando sea momento de compartir, a favor de darnos su nombre, ya que como somos un grupo grande, nos ayuda a ver quién es la persona que está hablando. ¿Ok? Finalmente, el chat es una manera de que ustedes pueden participar, pueden responder a mensajes, compartir recursos y herramientas y también darse afirmaciones de unos a otros. Ok, estoy viendo que hay gente que está diciendo que el audio está un poco mal para ellos. ¿Me pueden escuchar bien?
Yo sí.
Sí, algunos. Ok.
Eso
Um, Deje ver. Si han elegido el inglés y es audio en inglés, vamos a darle saber a nuestra intérprete para ver si es de su parte. Si es con el de nosotros, tal vez elija español am, en la interpretación o mantenga el audio original. Tal vez puede ser que uno de esos suene mejor que el otro. Ok, ok, perfecto. Ok, so creo que va a ser en la interpretación, Yulibeth. Sí. Ok, vamos ya le dijimos a Yulibeth a ver si tal vez es el micrófono donde esté am, para ayudarles a ustedes a escuchar un poco más, mejor. Ok. Ok. So, ahora vamos a empezar con abrir nuestro espacio y nomás hacer un reconocimiento. Va a haber um, abrimiento más extenso y más cultural en unos cuantos momentos, pero primeramente queríamos nomás hacer un reconocimiento de todas nuestras relaciones. Yo estoy aquí en Los Ángeles, entonces quiero reconocer y agradecer a nuestras relaciones Tongve y Gabrielino, en cuáles son las tierras ancestrales donde yo estoy ahorita residiendo. También quiero honrar todos los antepasados y sus descendientes que están aquí hoy con todos ustedes y con nosotros, y todas las contribuciones de nuestras relaciones pasado, presente y futuro. Y finalmente quiero reconocer el trabajo forzoso y la esclavatura que no fue remunerado de africanos y afroamericanos que permitió y sostuvo el inicio de este país y del capitalismo. Es muy importante de reconocer la violencia que ocurrió, que contribuyó a donde estamos ahorita y que hagamos el trabajo necesario para traer sanamiento a esas heridas colectivas que tenemos. Okay. Ok, si ustedes no saben cuáles tierras ancestrales están, les vamos a poner una página, un sitio web donde pueden buscar el nombre de las relaciones y los descendientes de esas tierras. Dejen nomás ponerlo en el chat ahorita. Y les pedimos que usen esto para ayudarnos a reconocer a estos grupos y estas tierras donde ustedes están. So, aquí está el del. Ok.
en el chat.
Ya lo pusimos en el chat. Vamos a dar un minuto para que ustedes puedan también incluir a descendientes, relaciones, grupos, am, descendientes de las tierras de donde están ustedes. Bien. Muchas gracias. Y bienvenidos a los que acaban de entrar al taller. Si necesitan inglés solamente, favor de elegir la interpretación y ahí pueden elegir inglés o español. Welcome to those who just joined us. If you would like interpretation for English only, I invite you to select the interpretation icon where you can select English or Spanish. This workshop will be in Spanish. And so if you only need English, then you can just select the English. Okay. Okay. Gracias a todos que están reconociendo en el chat. Las tierras ancestrales de donde vienen. Okay. Durante este momento, mientras están viendo todo lo que nuestros compañeros están incluyendo, los invito a que respiren profundo conmigo, empezando con esta respiración. En cualquier manera que ustedes quieran respirar, nomás hagan una inhale y exhale. Mientras reconocemos, inhalen por unos cuantos segundos más. 2, 3, 4. Exhalen por 4 segundos. 3, 4. Ok. Perfecto. Ahora, maestra Sara, ¿quiere que hagamos el conocimiento primero o quiere empezar con su presentación del IPA?
Rapidito el del iPad, nada más para terminar esa tarea.
Okay.
So I will share my screen. Voy a compartir mi computadora. Nada más queríamos presentarlos tantito con nuestra organización que se llama Alianza de Pueblos Indígenas en Los Ángeles. Nace la organización en el 91. El gobierno estadounidense quería traer 3 réplicas de 3 barcos. Los barcos que usó Cristóbal Colón cuando se perdió y terminó por acá, la Niña, la Pinta y la Santa María. Entonces se empiezan a organizar muchos grupos y tribus del sur de California a parar el plan de una celebración de los 500 años del supuesto descubrimiento de América, ¿no? Como pueblos indígenas sabemos que ese al 90% de la población del hemisferio americano desaparece, ¿no? En 100 años, en 150 años. Alianza de Pueblos Indígenas, nos basamos en 4 cosas, que es verdad, nuestra cultura, disciplina, ¿verdad? Que también significa palabra, tener palabra, y pues el trabajo comunitario. Y nuestro trabajo el día de hoy se enfoca en el apoyo a Shinashli como la red de jóvenes graduadas y maestras que apoyan a jóvenes en las escuelas, en centros de detención, en comunidades, ¿verdad? Shinashli ha sido nuestro hogar los últimos 3 años. Después tenemos Calmeca, que es el programa de esto, lo que vamos a hacer el día de hoy y mañana, aprender nuestras culturas, mantenerlas, descubrir adentro de nosotros qué significa estos simbolismos, ¿no? Estas iconografías, qué significa la tierra madre para nosotros, ¿no? Ese es el espacio Calmeca para hacerlo. El taller del Tonalpohualli está bajo el programa de Calmeca. Y tenemos nuestro tercer programa, que es Aztlanáhuac. Aztlanáhuac es creado por el maestro doctor Sintli, Roberto Rodríguez, que desgraciadamente se nos fue hace más de un mes. Fue sorpresa, pero él vivía en Totihuacán y abrimos lo que fue una embajada chicana en Totihuacán con la simple misión de que cada ser humano tenga el derecho de regresar a Totihuacán a descubrirse a ellos mismos. Porque cuando uno llega a Totihuacán no puedes ignorar la grandeza de lo que es los pueblos indígenas de México, del centro, ¿verdad? Del centro del ombligo, de lo que piensan en nuestra cosmovisión es el ombligo del universo, ¿verdad? Terrestral es Totihuacán. Y tenemos nuestros programas de fiscally. Tratamos de apoyar muchas organizaciones que quieran pues empezar a agarrar fondos de fundaciones y de gobierno y tal vez no tienen el 501c3, que es su estatus de no lucrativo. Entonces tratamos de apoyar muchísimo los grupos y uno es el de doctora Patti, que es Colibrí. Entonces eso, y también a esta Felicia tenemos también en alianza con Mujeres de Maíz. Cuando nos necesitan, aquí estamos. Entonces, con ese espíritu de apoyar, les presentamos el taller de hoy y te paso la palabra, Patti. Gracias.
Gracias. Ok. So vamos ahora ya que escucharon un poco de nosotros, de las organizaciones que están patrocinando este taller, vamos a hacer un conocimiento breve, ya que queremos escuchar de ustedes y de las personas que están aquí con nosotros. So vamos a incluir el conocimiento y deje nomás compartir mi pantalla. Ok. Ok. Perfecto. So, ahora vamos a tener un conocimiento breve. Se les vamos a pedir que compartan su nombre y sus pronombres. ¿De dónde están? ¿De dónde están? Nos están uniendo, o ¿cómo se dice? Like, where are you joining us from? So your name and pronouns, nombre y pronombres, location, su lugar. Y si la respuesta a la pregunta ¿cómo te sientes? Fuera un elemento, planta o animal, ¿cuál sería y por qué? So if the answer to how are you feeling was an element, plant, or animal, what would it be and why? So ahora vamos a tener ese conocimiento aquí con todos ustedes y yo voy a modelar para que vean cómo se puede escuchar este conocimiento. So, otra vez mi nombre es Patti, doctora Patti. Mis pronombres son ella y ellas. My name is Dr. Patty. My pronouns are she, her, hers. Estoy en Los Ángeles, California. Y si la respuesta cómo me siento fuera un elemento o planta o animal, yo diría que soy una rosa que apenas se está abriendo. Creo que todavía necesito mi cafecito, so estoy abriendo bien slowly. Y ya mi perfume ya está viniendo y ya me estoy sintiendo un poco más alegre y hermosa como una rosa. So my answer was if how I am feeling was an element, plant, or animal, I would be a budding rose because I still need my coffee. But it would be budding slowly, and my perfume would be felt and experienced because I'm coming alive and getting more energy. So ahora voy a pasar a la palabra a, vamos a decir, a una de mis comadres favoritas, que también es una de mis amigas cercanas, doctora Sara Cortés de Pavón. If you could share your conocimiento.
Buenos días. Mi nombre es doctora Sara Cortés de Pavón y estoy en Murrieta, California. Y mis pronombres son ella, ellas. Y si fuera una planta o un animal, yo creo que por ahorita me siento como el viento. Estoy tratando de aprender más de cómo soy yo, cómo quedo aquí en este mundo, en mi lugar aquí, y estoy tratando de conocer diferentes lugares, diferentes partes del mundo y como tener, aprender toda esa información. So como I'm spreading throughout the world, trying to learn. Yeah. Do I popcorn someone else? Okay. Se lo paso a Alma Nuño.
Buenos días, mi nombre es Alma Nuño, me estoy conectando de Concord, California. Mis pronombres son ella, ellas, y el elemento que más me identifico en este momento sería una de mis plantas. Los pobres necesitan un poquito de agua, así es que como ellas estoy aquí para poder aprender un poquito más de mis antepasados. Muy agradecida por esto. ¿Lo digo en inglés también? Está bien, sí.
No.
Read call.
No?
No, you're being interpreted for.
Oh,
Who would you like to pass it on to?
I would like to pass this to Belen.
Gracias, Alma. Buenos días, everyone. Me llamo Belén Guadalupe Velázquez Flores. Estoy llamando de El Monte, California. Originalmente nací en Guadalajara, Jalisco, México. Y mi respuesta para esta pregunta, si yo me siento ahorita como un elemento, planta o animal, me siento ahorita y por algún tiempo ahora me he sentido como una mariposa. Estoy como para ti, estoy abriéndome y estoy aprendiendo a abrir mis alitas y a tener confianza en, en todos los elementos, en mis propias alas, en la fuerza que el Creador me ha dado, en, en la medicina que el Creador me ha obsequiado. Entonces me siento ahorita mucho con esa energía como la mariposa monarca. Muchas gracias. Le paso la palabra a nuestra compañera Sara Husky Mendoza.
Ok. Gracias. Me llamo Sara, she, her, ella. Me siento también como una planta aquí en Nuevo México, de donde estoy llamando Aztec, New México. Tenemos muchos cactus y están tan hermosos, tan bellos que me duele quitarlos, pero a veces no podemos ni siquiera tirar una pelota porque se poncha luego. Pero me siento como un cactus, like one of my plants. Gracias, buenos días. Y le paso la palabra a ¿quién? Aquí está la lista. Ok. Adriana Abundis.
Muchas gracias, Sara. Buenos días a todos. Me llamo Adriana Abundis. Uso los pronombres ella, suya, she, her. Ahorita estoy en la ciudad de Whittier, California, cerca a Belén un poco. Ahorita me siento como una semilla en el viento. Estoy ahorita en una transición en mi vida y realmente voy donde me lleva la palabra, donde me llevan lo que me están enseñando mis padres y mis abuelas ahorita. Y estoy muy, pues, emocionada de empezar a nuevo, a saber dónde voy a poner mis raíces y cómo puedo crecer. Voy a pasar la palabra a Yuli Beth Guisado.
Yuli, comparte algo. Yuli, ve, te invitamos. I think she might be sharing in the English room, ¿verdad? En el cuarto.
Oh, you could, let's see. Great question. You could do it in the English and then I'll try interpret for you in Spanish. So yo voy a interpretar para Yulibeth. Um, Thank you. So Yuli Beth shared in the English channel that she is from Panama and is joining us from Panama.
No, Spanish. Habla español.
Habla español. But she's in the English channel, so we can't hear her in the Spanish one. And that her pronouns are she, her, hers. Pues lo voy a hacer en español, ¿verdad? Yo no estoy aquí. Okay, so Yulibeth dio su conocimiento en el idioma inglés, en el canal inglés. So yo voy a interpretar por ella. So ella nos dijo que ella es de Panamá, sus pronombres son ella y ellas. Y el elemento que más que ella se siente más como alineado es con el agua porque limpia y sana. Y ella compartió que ha pasado por cosas muy, muy fuertes y que el agua ha ayudado a sobresalir. Gracias, Yulibeth. ¿Y a quién quieres pasar la palabra? So, Yulibeth escogió a Karina Moreno, que es su conocimiento.
Hola, buenos días a todos. Mi nombre es Karina Moreno. Mis pronombres son ella y ella. Y me siento como también una semillita aquí en la tierra. Todo está bien oscuro, pero tengo fe que aquí es donde pues crecemos, ¿no? Y muchas gracias. Se lo voy a pasar a Adriana.
Hola, me llamo Adriana, ya pasé mi tiempo hablando, le voy a pasar a Vanessa.
Hola, me llamo Vanessa. Esperen, mi niño me está llamando. Am, Estoy en Oakland, California, la tierra de los solones. Vengo de Texas y yo me siento ahora en este momento como uno de los elementos sería como un árbol fuerte, mis raíces fijas y estoy en una etapa en mi vida en donde estoy disfrutando de mi cosecha. Oh, ok, muy agradecida por estar aquí. Y se la paso a Laura, Laura Navarrete.
Buenos dias. My name is Laura Navarrete. I'm calling from Lompoc, California, Santa Barbara County. Sorry, I'm having difficulty doing Zoom on my phone. I haven't done Zoom on my phone in years. I feel like a sloth because me fui a vacaciones last week to Rosarito and I just came back and I'm dragging.
Very good. Angelica, would you like to go next? Okay. Felicia, would you like to go next?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Buenos días. Mi nombre es Felicia Montes Velázquez. Y yo vengo, ahorita estoy en la tierra Tongva. ¿Y qué más? Creo que siento como agua. Ahorita hay muchas cosas que están pasando. Y en vez de como sentir estrés, quiero estar como fluyendo con todo y con lo que viene y lo que va y lo que debo de recibir y lo que debo de no tener o recibir. Muchas gracias, un honor ver a maestra Marta desde hace mucho, mucho tiempo y todas mis relaciones que están aquí, y hermanas y hermanos y hermanis. Gracias. Y perdón que por mucho del tiempo yo creo que voy a no tener el video. Pero un meteo y buenos días. Paso la palabra a Sammy.
Yeah, I'm going to do it in English. um, my name is Sammy. It's Aya. Her. I feel like a butterfly. And it's coming out of the cocoon. The last stage of a butterfly, some get stuck on the cocoon and it needs to break out by itself. If you touch it, it will die. That's where I feel where I'm at right now. My own transformation that I must do it myself to bring forth the life and the new life to myself. And I'm from East Los Angeles. And I pass it to Mando Lawrence.
Mondo, are you muted?
Hey, how about now? Can you hear me now? Okay, I'm using earphones to help me hear you guys a little bit better, but I guess I don't know what happened. Anyhow, so I took them off. Um, so okay, you're interpreting. All right, ándale. My name is Mondo Lawrence, he, him. Um, I'm originally from Boyle Heights, East LA, but I live in Chino right now. Um, and most of you I could not hear. It's muffled, and so I'm hearing bits and pieces. But good morning, buenos días a todos. And then I just realized from Sammy that people are saying, I guess, how they're feeling this morning. And so I kind of feel like a flower bud waking up, waiting for the sun to greet me. And I don't know what else to say. Oh, I'm a member of LIPA, longtime member of Los Angeles Indigenous Peoples Alliance. And I'm gonna pass this on to let me see here. Let me pick someone. Griselda.
Patty, could you maybe call on people? I keep track of who can go next, so that way we can keep it going, keep it moving.
Lisa, would you like to go next?
Yes, good morning. Julissa, she, her, hers. I'm feeling like a snail. I'm going at a slow pace today. And I'm located in the Central Valley, Yoka and Miwok territories. I'll pass it to Socorro if she hasn't gone.
Good morning. I'm sorry, I'm arriving a little late, so I get that we're introducing ourselves. My name is Socorro Shields. I'm from the Long Beach area, and I'm feeling like I'm feeling a little kind of like a bear who had a good night, too good a night's sleep. So that's where I am this morning. And I don't know who to call on either. I don't know who's already spoken and who has not.
Oh, it's okay. We'll pick someone.
Diana?
Good morning. Diana Duran. Oh, oops. Diana Duran. Oh, I did not pick that virtual background. No escogí esa imagen, no sé de dónde salió, pero igual. Soy Diana Xochitl Durán, de la tierra de la gente tigua, además muchos más aquí en El Paso, Texas. She, hers, ella, y me siento, hoy por la mañana estaba sacando muchas hierbas, entonces me siento como una hierba un poco cansada, pero muy tenaz y de mi tierra. Un orgullo, gracias. Y escojo a ver, ¿a quién le toca? Pati Amaya,
Aquí estoy.
perfecto.
Gracias. No tengo cámara puesta, perdón, pero mi nombre es Patricia Amaya y yo vivo en Las Cruces, Nuevo México. Mi pronombre es ella. Si yo fuera un animal, me siento como una mariposa que quiere ver su belleza interior, aprender a conocerme y reconocerla, para abrir mis alas y volar libre, libre de juicios y de prejuicios y de paradigmas. Gracias. No sé quién sigue, disculpe.
Muna.
Good morning, everyone. Hi. My name is Mona. I actually did body skills or everything. I go by Chico, figure out that, before by they done. I put in the class, I feel like class, you don't really know where we are. So, many
¿Todos han compartido o hay alguien que todavía no? Vanessa, a ver.
Yo compartí.
Ok, ya. Carla, ya. Ok, ya veo. Compartió en el chat. ¿Qué tal? Yo sé que Laura Navarrete también compartió. ¿Qué tal, maestra Marta?
Sí, claro que sí. Eh, pues yo soy Marta Ramírez Oropesa. Ahorita estoy en Los Ángeles, California. Y me siento como si fuera un árbol que está echando más y más hojitas y ramas cada vez que tengo la fortuna de poder compartir los conocimientos de nuestros antepasados. Me siento como que se me activa todo mi cuerpo y para llegar a los corazones. Y soy ellas, y pues gracias por estar aquí.
Gracias, maestra. Vamos a pasársela a maestra Sara, que nos va a darnos una introducción a nuestra maestra Marta, y ya vamos a comenzar.
Muchísimas gracias. Maestra Marta Ramírez Oropesa nunca le he dicho a usted, maestra, pero es una de las inspiraciones más grandes de lo que el día de hoy yo le llamo el curso de Shenashli, Rites of Passage. Es un curso de jóvenes, de niñas específicamente, con marcadores, ¿no? En cada paso de vida. Y en inglés, pues le decimos Character Development, un curso para desarrollar el carácter, el conocimiento de ser. El Tonalpohualli es clave para este trabajo. Entonces aquí tenemos también facilitadoras y maestras del curso Shinashli que están aprendiendo y mejorando su conocimiento del Tonalpohualli, pero fue el Siwa Huehuetlatocan, una conferencia que usted organizó en una hermosa universidad que fundó y construyó maestra Marta, una universidad en el estado de Cuernavaca. Su casa era un teocalli, una pirámide. Su oficina era otro teocalli. Era un centro tan hermoso que estaba conectado también con nuestra arquitectura, ¿verdad, maestra?
Sí.
Entonces, ahí fue su casa y de ahí yo regreso de esa conferencia inspirada, yo regreso encontrada, ¿verdad? Porque decimos, me voy a México a encontrarme, pues me encontré, ya regresé y de ahí nace Shinashli, nace el Matrix, nace la estructura que el día de hoy yo le llamo el Mexica Dialectic Process, el proceso dialéctico mexica, basado en los espíritus de las 4 direcciones. Y eso es para jóvenes de las high schools, esa es nuestra meta, trabajar con jóvenes en high school. Pero, maestra, usted ha sido una inspiración grandísima, es un honor tenerla aquí, su sabiduría, su conciencia, su amor a la comunidad, es algo que pues ojalá nosotras jóvenes podemos, no tan jóvenes, pero ahí vamos, podamos aprender y adoptar, ¿verdad? Esos dones que usted tiene. Maestra Marta es una muralista conocida por todo el mundo. Ha sido parte de un mural muy importantísimo de mujeres que se ha manejado en los últimos, no sé si fueron 25 años, maestra, el mural mundial. Maestra Marta ha sido parte de ese proyecto. Maestra enseña estas clases en la Universidad de California Sur, Los Ángeles, UCLA. So it's an honor, es un honor de verdad que se la pasa con nosotros todo este tiempo y pues es una filósofa, she's a philosopher y ha escrito un libro que se llama El Toltec I Ching. Por favor, búsquenlo y sigamos, pues todas ya somos estudiantes de maestra Marta y aquí le paso la palabra a usted. Muchísimas gracias por esta mañana.
Pues muchísimas gracias. Qué hermoso, Sarita, escuchar tus memoria de aquel encuentro tan hermoso y pues clave, ¿no? Para nuestras vidas, tanto como tuya como la mía. También en esa conferencia nos abrimos las alas de mariposa, a hacer otra vez lo que estaba en nuestro camino. Y sí, en esos tiempos fue de mucho cambio y pues ya estoy aquí para compartir eso y muchas otras cosas más que siento que son importantes para los jóvenes de ahora, que sin raíz estamos perdidos. Entonces, esto es pues cada vez más lo que siento yo al dar clases. Ahora tengo 220 alumnos en UCLA y doy una clase de el origen y evolución del Día de los Muertos, que es muy interesante ver cómo se van poniendo las etapas encima para llegar a nuestros días a través de la ofrenda de Día de Muertos. Y pues yo quisiera comenzar, si ustedes están de acuerdo, con un pequeño ritual hacia los 4 rumbos. Y voy a abrir mi PowerPoint para inspirarnos un poquito. Entonces aquí vemos, vamos a ponerlo. Vamos a ver cómo lo puedo hacer que empiece. Slideshow. Que empiece, doctora Patti, ¿cómo le hago para que empiece?
Puede poner from start.
Ah, es que estaba tapado con el otro. Ah, okay.
Sí.
Ahí está.
Perfecto.
Bueno, siempre es importante reconocer a nuestros antepasados y nuestra cosmopercepción, nuestra cosmovisión, antes de hacer un trabajo tan profundo como es el hablar de los antiguos y sus enseñanzas y de las fuerzas creadoras que nos impulsan a querer conocer más profundamente de dónde venimos. Yo he sahumado con copal el área donde estoy y ahora lo que vamos a hacer es inspirarnos en esta imagen de las 4 abuelas de los 4 puntos cardinales. Entonces es muy sencillo el ritual que podemos ubicarnos en nuestra cosmovisión, nuestra cosmopercepción, encontrando por dónde sale el sol. En donde estén ustedes, busquen el oriente. Y para mí es para acá. Y después voy a voltear hacia el poniente, hacia allá. Ubiquen ustedes su poniente. Y luego hacia el norte, y hacia el norte, ¿verdad? Y hacia el sur. Entonces, estos 4 puntos cardinales que pueden ver en el petate que está detrás de mí, nos ubican en un espacio y luego damos gracias hacia el universo y hacia la madre tierra. Esto, y al ratito les explico visualmente cómo va a ser. Entonces, voy a tomar una florecita para ofrecer hacia el oriente y lo voy a decir en náhuatl y en español. Inixpancintli, insente ejecatl, Mashiyaoyotzin, Mashiyaolincan, Intlahuiscampa, hacia el oriente, el rumbo por donde sale el sol, el rumbo de la luz. Y ahora vamos a ir hacia el poniente. Inixpancintli, in onte ejecatl, Mashiyaoyotzin, Mashiyaolincan, in Cihuatlampa, hacia el poniente, el rumbo por donde se oculta el sol, el rumbo de lo femenino. Y ahora vamos a ir hacia el norte. En Expansintli, en Yente Ejecatl, Mashiyaoyotzin, Mashiyaolincan, en Mictlampa, hacia el norte, el rumbo de nuestros antepasados, el rumbo de Mictlán, donde habitan allí y nos ven de la transformación. Y luego hacia el sur. Inishpansintli, Inaute Ejecatl, Mashiyaoyotzin, Mashiyaolincan, Inhuitzlampa, hacia el sur, el rumbo de la fuerza de voluntad, el rumbo de la fuerza de nuestros corazones. Y luego damos gracias hacia el cosmos. Tlazokamati totatsin el Wicatl, Tlazokamati tonansin el Wicatl, Tlazokamati tonati mesli huesitlali. Agradecemos al Padre, Madre Sol, Padre, Madres Estrellas, por toda su fuerza, por llevarnos por este mundo. Y luego tocamos la tierra. Tlazokamati tonancintlali, Tlazokamati totatcintlali, Tlazokamati tlazolteot, coatlicue, chalchutlicue, ometeot. Agradecemos, Madre, Padre Tierra, Madre de las montañas, Madre de los ríos, ometeot. Y ahora que hicimos este ritual, hemos abierto el espacio para poder compartir con todo respeto estos conocimientos. La cosmopercepción es algo que a nosotros es un gran regalo que tenemos. Es un gran regalo que tenemos de nuestro pasado, que cuando ustedes se sientan un poco fuera de su armonía, inmediatamente visualicen esto, porque está en todas las culturas. En todas las culturas tenemos una cosmovisión y es, imagínense que lo primero que pasa al descubrir que estamos vivos, que somos algo, es que vemos hacia arriba, vemos el sol y estamos pisando la tierra. Entonces ese eje axis mundi que le llaman, ese axis mundi, es lo que nos sostiene, nos da fuerza. Y luego inmediatamente vemos por dónde sale el sol. Por eso es el primer lugar a donde invocamos y agradecemos, es el oriente. El oriente es donde está esa fuerza de la luz, esa fuerza. Y luego del otro lado está el poniente, del otro lado está la fuerza donde se oculta el sol. Entonces estos son lugares muy sagrados, son los lugares donde se genera el día y se termina el día. Y luego el norte, el tercer lugar, es importantísimo porque es el lugar donde se piensa que están todos los antepasados y se ven las estrellas. Cuando vemos las estrellas, esos simbolizan dónde están nuestros antepasados. Incluso el glifo, el símbolo de las estrellas, es como un ojo, una estrella, y dicen que todas las estrellas son los ojos de los antepasados, de las antepasadas que nos están cuidando, nos están protegiendo. Y luego el sur es el lugar siempre de mucho movimiento. El sur es el lugar de las espinas, dicen. Huitzlampa, el lugar de las espinas, porque siempre hay muchas cosas que pasan y que nos obligan a tener fuerza de voluntad. Esas espinas es como nos pican y se hacían muchos sacrificios con la espina de maguey para precisamente agarrar la onda, ahora sí, y empezar a trabajar en lo que más queremos transformar de nosotras mismas. Y bueno, con esa imagen que he puesto aquí, ustedes pueden ver cómo toda esa cosmovisión está dentro de nuestros antiguos templos, como decía en Teotihuacán, en el Templo Mayor, en la Ciudad de México, todos estos están en vivo y que uno puede ver y estudiar. Hay mucho que decir en la arqueoastronomía, arqueo de arqueólogos, astronomía de los astros, como esa noción de que no estamos solos, sino que estamos en un gran universo, se conformaron en estas construcciones. Todo esto es como para decirles que en los calendarios sagrados que vamos a usar para este taller, vienen de esos grandes tlacuilos de los hombres y mujeres que hacían estos códices que son magníficos y que nos dan tanta información. Y pues de allí, pues con mucho respeto yo tomé y de alguna manera interpreté mucho de lo que ahora voy a compartir con ustedes, de estar allá en la Universidad Náhuatl, que decía Sarita, fue como mi misión. Eso ahí es donde yo estudiaba todo. Pudimos justamente en 1992 se republicaron todos los códices y pudimos tener acceso a más información. Y bueno, aquí está un pequeño video donde se habla, y lo pueden ver ustedes más adelante para no tomar el tiempo, pero se habla un poquito de dónde viene el glifo que es el cómo voy a ponerles esta parte de la invocación que acabo de hacer. And the way the rituals are begun are facing each one of the cardinal points to ask for permission to begin the ritual. So the 4 elements within her are going to be activated when they represent symbolically the fire that she will be holding in her heart, which is the fire, begins to be activated. Her blood, which is the water, the air, the breath, and her earth, which are the bones, begin to become alive. And they are expressed with a great sense of gratitude. And they reach out to the east, which is the east is here. And the east is where the sun rises. So the first region would be the region of light. But how about if on its way it meets the tree? This tree here. And so this prayer or this sense of gratitude reaches the tree, and the tree's heart is impacted and then reaches out to them. And then to her, that everything that is around it begins to reflect the sense of gratitude. And then she reaches out to the west where the sun sets. And her heart begins to give gratitude to the west, the region of the feminine. And in this region, let's say maybe there is the ocean. The ocean is there. And so the ocean will be impacted also by the prayer, and it will reflect back to her. And in every way, it will reflect back to everything that makes it. And then let's say the next region, the region of the north, the region of the ancestors, then would be, let's say, a butterfly, as a belief that the ancestors can be a butterfly. And so her heart reaches out to the north and meets the butterfly and begins to generate a sense of gratitude for anything. And then we reach out to the south. The south is the region of shifts, the region of things. And we feel like and this sense of gratitude surrounds the person, and the person begins to reflect. And also, his heart reaches the bird, and then the bird reflects and then reflects again. And all of a sudden, all of these will be reflecting to each other. They will reach each other. They will begin to reach each other. And then at the end, the guide looks up into the universe and sees the sun, the stars, the moon, and gives thanks to all the wonderful cosmic forces that live way above into the universe. And she thanks them, and they thank her, and they thank each other, and they're stimulated by this great sense of gratitude. And she looks down into the deep, deep breath. She kneels and she gives thanks, and she thanks the Mother Earth for her happiness through the universe. Then something happens. Everything is connected, and the group that started in the east, going go around, and they go to the Dubai, and to the beyond.
Maestra, Maestra, we just realized the video is very muffled and we can't hear it. Maybe if you could briefly explain what we just saw, that would be great. Yeah, because it's really muffled. We were trying to figure out what's going on. Okay.
Oh, I guess it was maybe because my earphones were on. No? Well, anyways. Well, basically what I'm comparing and trying to express is that, see the glyph of speech glyph, where it comes from. And because it's a very powerful glyph that refers, in this video, it refers to how the ritual of invocation is generated by that sequence of invoking to the east, to the west, to the north, and to the south, and to the above and below. And that's how it is when you speak, that the glyph is such a perfect, as well as lots of the iconography of the códices are just exactly, because it's not like it's an arrow that's going directly to someone. It is one that touches the 4 cardinal points, the above and the below. And so when you're in say, for example, in this talk that we're doing right now, these words are connecting and to the 4 cardinal points, the above and the below. But yes, you can see it at the end. So I wanted to continue on with a very important symbol, which is Tlazolteotl. Tlazolteotl, she is the creative force that regenerates, and she is a very important manifestation of Ometeotl, which we'll briefly introduce as well. Ome is 2 and Teotl is creative force. So these are 2 creative forces that come together, and they're pushing each other until something happens and something new is created. And here you can see that's why we honor this very important feminine force, because she guides the sweat lodge and she also guides the tonalamat, all of the studies and the tlacuilo, as you become tlacuilos yourself and you create and Tonalpohualli, you begin to be those who speak the words of the calendar systems. She guides these. And of course, it's very connected because the sweat lodge was where they would prepare the childbearing woman to childbirth. And then immediately después de eso, oh, I'm speaking in English. Perdón.
Maestra, no. Actually, Maestra, if we can continue in English,
okay.
Everybody speaks English and we're having some tech issues in the other room.
All right.
Yeah, if it would be okay, we continue. Thank you.
Okay. And so the sweat lodge is very connected with the Tonalamat because 4 days after the birth of the child, they would take the child to be given a name according to the time of the calendar, the trecenas, and everything that had to do with that moment. So here let me describe a little bit about Tlazolteotl. Here is the name planting ceremony, where you can see that after 4 days, the child is given to the midwife. Her name would be Tonalpohualli, and she walks around this circle where you have the community there with eating corn. They bring corn, and the elements if it's a boy, and elements here if it's a girl. And then the midwife goes around 4 times and then bathes the child and gives them water as a symbol of cleaning and also of good health, to be able to drink water. So this is just a códice, Mendoza códice, where you can see many of the rituals that were done. And by the way, many people are doing a replanting ceremony, which is a beautiful thing that you give yourself strength with your new name that has to do with that moment of birth. This is another function here in the Temazcal. The Temazcal was where it was like the hospital where everything would be transformed. And if it didn't have an image, they say that if it didn't have an image of Tlazolteotl, then it wouldn't heal as well. So that's why even in the codices, you can see like this one, where it is painted Tlazolteotl. So basically it's like agua quemada, aclachinoli, which they say that it's fighting, it's the war, but really it's the internal war that you have to lead, in order to come to a better place. And in that temazcal, that's where you speak with the ancestors, you speak what you feel, and you sweat. So it's not just that you're sweating, it's just that principle of Tlazolteotl is taking away what is not needed and bringing health for you. And this song is a song that I learned in a temazcal, and it's I learned it in Spanish, and I asked a good friend from Xochicalco to translate it for me. And here is the English, and it goes, Tlali no sentech, atzintli no yes yo, yehekat no yekayot, Huantlet non emilis, tierra es mi cuerpo, agua mi sangre, aire mi aliento y fuego mi espíritu. The earth is my body, water my blood, air is my breath, and fire is my spirit. There are other names given to this principle of Ometeotl, and some of them are the following. Moyocayani means the one who invents oneself. So you can see in Tlazolteotl, she is inventing herself. So you see, and this is a page from the Borbónico Códice, and you can see how the little person is coming, the invocation of a new life is coming to be regenerated. Before it was part of something else. It could have been a tree or a bird or land or ocean. But all of a sudden, this raw material comes in from the universe into this process, the process of Tlazolteotl. And you can see that here in the codices, this open-legged icon means childbearing, so it's a feminine force. But she has a mashle, which is a masculine garment. And in this masculine and feminine force, the little person will be formed and then given birth. When the new human being is born, it is born with the same attributes that she has. And holding in its hands, she has an Olin symbol, a movement symbol. That's why she governs movement, all movement, and the movement sign, the Olin sign. And you can see that once again. So the Olin symbol is you have the night and the day, the feminine, masculine, all of these dualities coming together in movement, in a movement. So this is very important because it means that this regeneration, she is creating a little, and you can see it's the same image. She is continuation. The regeneration is what she's bearing. And of course, you have also the black and white, the black and red garment, which has a new moon, crescent moons that are being born, that are being very powerful image here. And her headdress, she also governs all of the healers. her headdress is cotton that has little particles of dirt in them. So it means that with the cotton, she will heal and regenerate and cover all of the wounds. And there's so much here that you can see how important this feminine force is so important that when the Spaniards came, they said that she was like evilish. She was like a very terrible goddess that would incite people to do sexual relationships out of the normal traditions, and so that was very evil. And but all of that, and also they would call her the filth eater, because what you see coming out is a little bird that is being regenerated, but it's not that she's eating filth, it's that she's regenerating. So there's so much to be studied. Just here, you could write a whole encyclopedia in it. And so this is Tlazolteotl. And I proposed this name translation of Tlazolteotl, creative force of the unwoven, because you have the creative force, which is Teotl. Teotl, it's not Dios, because Dios is kind of a organized kind of religious idea, Dios. But creative force is something that is something that's being created, and we are creative force. And tlazol is basura, is like trash, tlazol. But if you cut it down into its smaller particles, tlazo is love, tlazoctli, and olin is movement. So it's the movement, the love of this creative force. And I put the creative force of the unwoven. Another very important image of Ometeotl, and it's a feminine and masculine icon, is a Coatlicue. Now, I even have a little statue of hers so that I can also explain it. So in the front of it, it is a feminine form, but in the back, it's a masculine form, because it has a mashtle. It has a masculine garment. And in the bottom, in the base, you can see that it's this Tlaltecutli, which is the masculine earth creator that takes everything and regenerates. So this creative duality, I suggest like this: you have these two serpents, each one coming together. They come together and they create. And then you can see that here in the center of the chest, you see hands and hearts, and sagging breasts, and you see this necklace. So what it would probably mean is that hearts and hands means giving life. Sagging breasts means that it has been born and has been nurtured and breastfed, and contributes to this necklace of precious gems, which is humanity. And so all of this is all about this, how these two forces come to generate this new life. And then at a certain point, you have a belt. At this belt, usually belts represents in the Códice the end of a cycle. You can see it when the year sign, for example, is a ray, a sun ray, and it's tied together. So it means it's a completed cycle of a year. So here it's a completed cycle of life. We're not talking just about human beings. It could be the life of a flower or the life of the universe. And so what happens next is that it's tied by a skull. Now the skull is not death. The skull is a moment of transition, of transformation. When one cycle has ended, then there's a moment of rest before a new cycle can begin. And so here you have this belt with a skull, and it has two heads, which will be these two heads that are finalizing their mission. But then in the skirt and mashle side, here you can see in the skirt and the mashle, the ometeo principle begins to work again. And so you can see how they're intertwined and creating new life. And then we have the dancer, this is where the danzantes come in, because it's that strong. You have the ayoyotes here and the eagle balance here. And so they begin to do this very powerful ceremony of wanting a new life, of hoping that this will emerge. And then it comes back to this Tlaltecutli. It goes deep into the earth, and then it creates a new possibility of life. And connected with the masculine side, once again, they come back and they start anew. So this is an amazing sculpture that I hope that you have a chance to go to the National Museum of Anthropology in Mexico, where now it's wonderful that before you could, danzantes couldn't go in, and now they allow, the government allows them to come and do ceremonies and special events around Coatlicue. This is another way of seeing Ometeotl again, and this is where these two polarities come together. You see in the Borgia Códice, in the first trecena, here you have like the powerful beginning. So it's the first group of 13 days that has this powerful beginning. And you can see it once again, it's a masculine figure in the top part. It has its instruments of the maguey, over here, the maguey thorn, the fasting with the hueso here with the bone. And on this side, you have the broom of cleansing and the pekbaka to bleed yourself, also to offer sacrifice. And sacrifice is something that is not very well understood, but it is part of what the ancients would have in order to ask for good rains, or ask for the crops to be successful. So, and this is the little bag of copal, of incense, that we use to harmonize before anything that we want to ask for. And so when these masculine part is activated, is prepared, this is all the ritual part, then the very physical aspect comes around. And this is where, this is the glyph of humanity. It's a precious stone, and it's a little treasure chest. So as it is bearing new life, this principle, both masculine and feminine, are working together to create another humanity or another aspect of what you are wishing to have. So these ancient books are very useful for us now because we can apply them to anything that we are, involved in, whether it's finishing your thesis or you're building a house or you're cooking a good meal for someone. Anything can be enhanced in our lives with ritual, with this ritual and this knowledge of Ometeot. Ometeot has been described in many ways, but in a very simple way. You can understand it as riding a bicycle. So you're riding a bicycle, and if you put one pedal down, you immediately have to put the other one or you will fall. So you put one and then the other side, and it will advance you to the next place. And the more you can do it and the more evenly you can do it, the faster you can get to that new place. So it's a very simple way of, explaining it, but it's not so separated as possible. It's almost together and going forward, creating all the time. We're always creating. Another way of understanding this principle in the codices and the ancient poetries, they say Yowali Ehekatu. Yowali, because it's night, it's as invisible as a night, and Ehekatu, it's as untouchable. You can't feel it, just as the wind. You can't grasp it. So that's what another definition of Ometeot, because there's actually no real perfect imagery that you can say this is what they mean. It's all these descriptions. Another one is the close and the near, tloque, nahuaque. The close, it is what is close to you and near to you. So this principle, it means that everyone is in its place where it has to be. Around Zapata's time, they would say that was the governing way. It was like tloque, nahuaque, yukmi, tomakpilwan. It means tloque nahuaque is like the fingers of our hands. They're all near and they all come together to do work, but each one has its principle. Tloque nahuaque. So this is here is a Ometeot here, and some images of the serpent, which is not serpent, spider. The spider is a symbol of Tlazolteotl as a weaver. Tlazolteotl is a weaver, and some of the strings go into her and some go out. And in the middle is a skull. And remember, the skull isn't death of anything. It isn't the end of something. It is a moment of transformation. So you have one day, and then the skull, and then night, and then the skull, and then night. So it's the moment of transition. There's a little bit of moment of rest, and it changes into its other. And another name is given to Ometeot, which is Ipalnemowani. And Ipalnemowani means the one by whose grace we live. And so it's another description of that energy. It's not just to say God, it's the one by whose grace we live. So what is it? It can be the ocean, the tree. It can be the whole universe. So Ipalnemowani is another phrase or that you can see in songs and in poetry. Here's a part of a fragment of a mural that I did depicting this moment of coming together of the Quetzal, and this more now related to Quetzalcoatl. You have Quetzal, which is the Quetzal bird, and especially the feather representing that part of the masculine side of Ometecutli, and then the other side, Omecihuatl, which would be the snake that is on the ground, sheds is shedding its skin, and then going and meeting up with the Quetzal bird, and then all of a sudden you have not only one vision of the things, but you have another vision, and so together you have one more vision, and they begin to dialogue with your heart, because they would say that the Tlamatini, the Tlacuilo, the artist or the wise person, would know what to paint, how to lead, by dialoguing with their own heart. Diálogo con tu propio corazón. It is at this moment, in this dialogue, then we begin to have wisdom. The wisdom is the dark and the red. The black and the red are symbols of wisdom too. So this is all of this is to describe in several ways what is Ometeo. Here in the pyramids, you can see in Xochicalco, for those of you who ever have the opportunity to go to this magnificent site, you can see Quetzalcoatl. Here is the snake, but here are the feathers of the Quetzal bird here. And within it, they have conch shells. Now the conch shells represent fecundity, creativity. So this is to be inspired, to be having this moment of creation with both your side, your serpent side, and your Quetzal side. They come together and give you creativity. These are the myths that have to do with Quetzalcoatl, and you can see act, if you are familiar with these. It's nice to go back and just pick out the moments that Quetzalcoatl is involved in. The Legend of the Suns, we have Quetzalcoatl connected with Tezcatlipoca, the creation of the sun and the moon. Nanahuatzin and Tecusistleca again would be like Quetzalcoatl and Tezcatlipoca. Here you have Quetzalcoatl goes to Mictlan, which is one of my favorites because it's so specific in each episode of that journey, the impact that wisdom, Quetzalcoatl, has to find ways of bringing the bones to create the fifth sun. Then we have Quetzalcoatl discovers corn again, where Quetzalcoatl is a black ant and a red ant and meets with the black ant. And here Quetzalcoatl becomes Venus. So it's another myth where you find how Quetzalcoatl will be finally transformed into a cosmic force, which is Venus. And Venus has two forms again, Venus as a morning star and Venus as an evening star. So once again, we have that Ometeotl. And this is Quetzalcoatl is you can study him in three different ways. As the philosophical, the mythical Quetzalcoatl, the historical leaders who took that name, such as Seacatl Quetzalcoatl, these are historical, real people who are several very famous Quetzalcoatl leaders, such as Seacatl. And Quetzalcoatl as a cosmic Quetzalcoatl, which is the planet Venus. So this is all again, these are like overlapping the Ometeo principle. And here are some images of these myths that I don't know how we're doing with time, but I think that Sara, how are we doing?
We are ready for a break, maestra. I know you've been.
That's what I thought.
Mira, yeah, let's take a break. What do you think, Patty? Until what time?
Should we come back at 11?
Yeah.
Pacific Standard Time?
That'd be great.
Okay, perfect.
Everybody take a break and we'll see you in 8 minutes. Gracias.
We're gonna continue.
Yes, wonderful. And to see it, so I really appreciate the explanation of Quetzalcoatl, maestra, because it gets a little confusing, ¿verdad?
Oh yeah, because there's so much. It's such a broad scope and understanding.
Yes. Yes. Maestra, continuamos.
Continuamos?
Gracias.
Okay. Okay, so I was just giving a recap on this. Tlahuizcalpantecutli Xolotl is Venus as a morning star and Venus as an evening star. And these are, when you can see them, it's in the mornings from January 1st to March 25th. And that's when it's Venus comes, you can see it like in the wee hours at about 5 a.m. Before the sunrise, and it's up on the right side. It helps. And the Xolotl is more difficult to see because of the sun setting, but you can see it from March 26th to December 31st, if you're interested in that. Okay. And I wanted to complete this segment with Flower and Song, the philosophical poems, because when you see a glyph that is coming out, the speech glyph that is coming out, but has little decorations, flowers, and everything, it's because the person is saying a poem, they're saying a philosophical expression. It's not just ordinary speaking, it's one that goes beyond the regular. One of the most important poets that we have till this day was Netzahualcoyotl. It was considered that it was the only true truth on earth, because everything perished except these traditional flower and song philosophical questionings that you could always understand something when you you see it from different angles, and then you create a metaphor and to save it, and you say that as wisdom. So that is why it's such a powerful thing today, you know, that we have these moments of poems that bring us to understand about everything, about the world, about us. One of what is very beautiful is we only come to sleep, we only come to dream. It is not true that we come to live on earth. So it's this idea that we, someone is raising their hand. Yes. Mando? Oh, because you're muted. So this is solo venimos a dormir, solo venimos a soñar. No es verdad, no es verdad que venimos a vivir en la tierra. It's a beautiful image. And here is a poem that maybe some of you are familiar with, that is also very metaphorical. And it's Netzahualcoyotl speaking to his mother. Nonansin, ihcuac nimiquis, motlecuilpa xinechtoca. Iwan ihcuac tlatitlaxcalchiuas, ompa nopampa xichoca. Iwan tlacatitlotanis, sihuapili, tlecatichoca. Sanueliwi kiknancuili, xoxoltic ilcuauitl, iwan popoca. So it says, my dear mother, when I die, bury me under your heart. And when you go make the tortillas again, when you go to make tortillas, there, cry for me, there talk to me. And if somebody would come and ask you, Siwapili, old woman, why are you crying? Quickly respond. The wood is still very green, and the smoke is what makes me cry. So it's madre mía, cuando yo muera, entiérrame en tu fogón. Y cuando vayas a hacer las tortillas, allí llora por mí, allí háblame. Y si alguien te preguntara, mujercita, ¿por qué estás llorando? Muy pronto respóndele, verde está la leña, es ella la que me hace llorar. So it's this metaphor of bringing everything inside. And that's one of the most important flower and song poems that I have seen. Well, here it's in English too, so you can see. So this I put in again so that we can refresh a little bit about where the calendars are going to come from and how it's all combined. Now we had this big introduction of Ometeotl, of these broader concepts, and now we're going to go to specific things. So here you see to the right here, you see how we have the four directions, the above and the below, Umeyokan, Mikan, and here we are in the middle. So that gives way to the very first division in our calendar systems. And you have, there's different colors, but this is one, and you have red and black, red and black, and yellow and white, and sometimes it's blue and other colors, but you can see the above and the beyond. So wherever you are, you can imagine yourself in this connection, and it's kind of the family. It's kind of something that you can never be alone in any moment. Once you have this idea, this cosmovision, we go back to our cosmovision, and it will give us a lot of strength. And here we see it this way. Imagine that we're lying down on the floor and looking up, and all of these cycles around us are giving us these specific energies. And this is the first, the biggest, segments of time that we can say. It's like the century, 52-year calendar is made up of 4 periods of 13 years. And this calendar is called Tonalpohualli. This one is, so it's a gathering of a small segment of years. The second one is called Seshiwigu, and it's 1 year, and this one is 365.25 days, a calendar, and it's divided into 18 months of 20 days. And this is much more like the calendar that we use, the Gregorian calendar that we can connect. Unfortunately, we don't really have a starting date, so that makes it difficult to pinpoint the correlation that that you want to use. So, but you can do this. And then the 260-day calendar is this one has more to do with the time of gestation of a human being, of the months that are needed, the 9 months. And these are 13 sets of 20 days. So 260-day calendar, 365.25-day calendar, and 52-year calendar. These are the 3 calendars that you can use to find your name, your destiny, your name. And we will be using these, I will be explaining these in these 2 days. So here we have the first one, and here we have the 4 leading, guiding signs, which are Tochtli, rabbit, Acatl, reed, Tecpatl, flint, and Kali, house. These are the 4 signs that take turn. Here you can see them. This is Tecpatl, this is Kali, this is Tochtli, and this is Acatl. It's reed, flint, house, and rabbit. And they all have a function during each year. So we have the reed. The reed is light, the reed is governing, the reed is discovery. It is a symbol of leadership, reed. And then we have Tecpatl, which is flint. It's one of truth. It's one of, it has 2 points, which mean that 1 point you investigate the truth to its core. And then on the other side, it has white, which means that you reflect everything that you learn. So it's like looking for truth, looking for truth. If you have this year, then this, if you were born this year, that's part of what you have within that you share with your community. And Kali house, as it says, Kali is the year. Kalis are, they build a protection. They protect, they build protection. It has to do with the region of the feminine, the region of the West. So it has a very powerful feminine protection spirit, and builders, people that build. And here you have Tochli, the rabbit. The rabbit is very unpredictable. You never know which way it's going to hop. And it reproduces itself many times. So it's very creative, very multiplier of things. So these are the four symbols that head the four parts of the calendar of 52 years. So it's 13 years. They take turns of leading these calendars. Here you can see it within the códice, and this is year right now. So you can see how it starts with the different. Here you find this is by the way, this is the Borbónico Códice, and it's an amazing piece of art where you have the three different calendars. Shukmopili, the Seshivit, and the Tonalpohualli, all together. And so here you can see, let's see this year's, so that I can walk you through, because here you have Kali, here the house, when number 1. So if we follow it along, so number 1, number 2, it will change to Tochli. Number 3, it will change to Acatl, reed. Number 4, it will change to Pecpat. Number 5, it will change to Kali. And 6, it will change to Tochli. 7 to Acatl. 8 to Pecpat. 9 to Kali. 10 to Tochli, and then here we would be in 2023, starting in March, is the year 11 Akat, 11 reed. So this is how we would find our energy, and and so forth. It will, next year will be Pecpat, 11 Pecpat, 12 Pecpat, and so forth, all the way to 13 house. So what does all this mean? So you have all of this information here. Not only do you have the name of the symbol of the year, the number, which has another explanation, and the guiding force. So each one of these have a certain force. In this case, it's Sinteotl, and so this is a force of creativity, the corn. We have the reed, which is one of governing, of the year of a very important, powerful leadership coming to us, and the year is 11. 11 is a very high-ranking area that is almost to the 13th, which means that it's one of great service to others. And so all of these characteristics that other people have studied, have come up with all of these interpretations. So you have these Shuhmolpili. Shuhmolpili is 52-year calendar. And again, it's 4 signs that influence 13 years. So each will have each sign, for example, here, will have some influence of house. So even though if you were born this year, you would have the influence of this sign of Acatl, leadership, intellectual pursuit, all of this, but also connected with the house, protection, and the feminine strength of the house. So this is a way that you begin to combine, like in a layered way, all of these symbols and characteristics. And this one is the second calendar, the Tonalpohualli, which is 18 groups of 20 days. That it was basically a calendar for agricultural purposes. But of course, the agriculture was everything, and everything had to do with either offering, giving thanks, or offering to ask for. So basically, there's two moments of the year. One is to ask for good rains that would start on 3 de Mayo, the 3rd of May, which is the cross, the day of the cross now, when the wet season will begin, when in Mexico, in the area that we call like Mesoamerica, the middle of America, where you had regular rains, you had the moment of beginning, the rain was in May, June, and so they would begin the first, let's say, of Ometeotl, it would be asking for rains, and all the rituals were asking for good rains for the crops, and they would begin to prepare the land so that everything would go well. They've had good weather for the event, and it would go all the way to around the Day of the Dead. Around that time would be the beginning of the dry season, and those that's why we have the Day of the Dead, because it is when we literally we thank the bones, because in ancient times they believed that the bones of the ancestors nurtured the earth so that they would have good crops. So it is very obvious that you thank the bones of the ancestors, and the great ofrendas that have till this day are done. And in fact, in some places like Pomuch, Quintana Roo, they bring out the bones, they clean them, and they put them beautifully on a table. They talk to them as if they were another member of the family there, and they say, well, you know, this your granddaughter just graduated, and so she's doing really well, and so got married. And so they, around the table, as everybody's cleaning the little bones, they take them out, they clean them, and they put them like white, and it had to be really, really clean. And then they put them all, after this kind of conversation with the person that died, they put them back, and they also say, well, this person wasn't nice, this person did this and that. So they kind of scold some of the youngsters. And so it's a very important ritual that is very unique in that area in Quintana Roo. So they put everything in a beautiful new napkin that has been embroidered especially for that purpose. They put them back into their little, it's a tiny little square kind of coffin, and then they put it back into the tomb. So this is a very long explanation of that second part of the year. So this The difficulty here is that we don't have a perfect moment of the beginning of the year. So you have the Tonalpohualli might not be so accurate as the correlation with the days that we have now. However, there are many studious archaeoastronomers who have pinpointed some of the dates. But this is the second year, so it's 365.25 days, and these 18 months that have those 20 signs, the 20 signs that we saw around the Aztec calendar, and that we will go into more about when we look for your signs. Here's another depiction of this calendar, and these are all the 18 months, which I'm not going to read out, but you can see these are more or less when they begin, and they're 20 days each. There's different versions of when they begin, so we don't know exactly. So here's where they begin. And also there's a 5.25 Nemontemi days, which are days that you're not supposed to do anything because it's the moment when one influence, say we have influence from each one of Tochli, Acatl, Tecpacali, we have influence from a certain cardinal point, will shift to the next one. So if you're going like from Tochli, Acatl to Acatl, Tochli would be the south, to Acatl, which is the west, the east. So that moment, it has to have its moment of transition. And those days, those 5 days, Nemontemi, they said, you don't do anything. You turn off all the fires. You just feel the leaving of one influence and the coming of the new one. And that's why they're very important too, because Nemontemi means the completion of that time. And the Tonalpohualli, here we can see in this grid here, you have the 20 signs of the Tonalpohualli, and here you can see this one is a correlation that I use with Maestro Mesa Gutierrez, Arturo Mesa Gutierrez, who has taught many generations of students since a long time ago. And by the fact that he went to different villages to see who was keeping this ancient calendar, and from his work, he published several books. Now there's many different other very serious works also about this. So it really is the one that you relate to most. But here is the a very simple way of understanding how these two work together, how these two calendars, the Tonalpohualli, are these that are on the top, 20 Tonalpohualli plus, 18 months, and the Nemontemi. And these are the Tonalpohualli. So combining these two, you find where your sign is. So here you would see, for example, in April, here's number 1. It starts with Tonalpohualli is this long name of a month, say 20-day month. So you start here, and you would go down until you get to the 20th sign. Since there are 20 signs, it starts in Zipatli and it ends in Xochitl. And so here you would see where you are. But that's something that we'll do later. I wanted to talk a little bit about the numbers. The numbers have special meanings as well. And this is a way that I try to explain it, which is dividing our body into 4 parts. And these parts would be called chik. So if we have, and the first part would be the hand, the fingers of the hand. Se, ome, ye, nawi, makwili. So those are number 5, the first 5. Then we pass it over to this side. And so we have chik. This first chik would be like a fraction. Chik guasen with, says chik plus 1 is 6. Chikome, 6 plus, 5 plus 1. With 5 plus 2 would be 7. Then chikue, 5, these 5 plus 3 would be 8. And these 5 plus 4 would be 9, chiknawi. And with the thumb, it would be maklakli, which means the hands of the torso. These 2 fingers in Spanish, they're dedos too. That's why we make that separation. So these fingers of the torso together are 10, maklakli. So se, ome, ye, nawi, makwili, chikwase, chikome, chikwe, chiknawi, maklakli. And then the process goes through the kashiku, a sacred vase of procreation, and it makes it to the 3rd cheek. So it would be maklakli, all of this, maklakli 1 se, maklakli 1 ome, maklakli 1 ye, maklakli 1 nawi, maklakli 1. Well, the next part would be kashtoli. Kashtoli is that this is the first part of this kashiku, kashtoli 15. And then we go to the last one, which be kashtoli 1 se, kashtoli 1 ome, kashtoli 1 ye, kashtoli 1 nawi. Sempuali. Sempuali is 1 count of 20. And kashtoli, I like to say that is kash, which is the pot, and olin, that it moves. Once you get to this area, you can start moving. Kashtolin, olin, and the movement of the pot. And here I also I propose this idea of in the case of our essences. And so se sentli, se would come from sentli, which is corn. Ome, number 2, phase in the process would come from omiku, the bone structure. So this essence, which is corn, is given us a structure with a bone. And then ye, you have the blood, yesli, which gives it life. It breathes warmth and life into it, the blood. So you have that 3rd phase, the blood. And now we have the skin that goes around it, nakatli. And this conforms that first essence of a process. And then makwili, then you have the hand that can grasp. So with that essence, that first essence, you can now grasp it. And you can apply that to anything that you're doing. If you apply it for the first phase, the second phase, the 3rd phase, the 4th phase, until you can actually work with it, you can move it, you can do something with it. Say you're writing a book, so you think about the essence of your book, how you're going to do it. Then you give it a structure, a bone structure. Then you make it move, you investigate, you do more and more understanding about the different ways of how it will move. then you give it a form, a nice form at the end, and then you reach Makwili, which is that you have it. Now you have it. It's done. And you can apply this to many. Now the Sampuali is very important. Sampual Xochitl, the flower of 20. And this, in ancient times, they believed that we had not only 3, but more than 3 souls. It wasn't the naturalist way of viewing that you have each person has 1 soul. In this case, we had 3, the Tonali, Teyolia, and Ixillotl, and these had different functions. So the Tonali, and that's where Tonalpohualli comes in, Tonal, is that essence that as soon as you're born, you get from your light, the light of the sun, you give your Tonali, and that's your destiny. That's the day you were born. That is very important. So the Cempasúchil is very interesting because it's not a flower like any other flower where it withers and the seeds fall on the ground and new flowers come out. Within the same flower, other flowers are born. So that spirit of the tonali has it in the simple Xochitl flower, the marigold flower. And you can see that there are flowers within flowers. So they're giving birth to new flowers. And each one of them and that gives birth has a tonali. They are giving a destiny. So that's why when we see the Day of the Dead, we see a lot of Cempasúchil because they considered the ancients that they, as human beings, they had that soul. They had the soul of the marigold flower. Now the marigold had the soul of the human being. So they have destinies connected with human beings. Very, very, very interesting. And here is an image within the Borbónico codices of the Xuchmolpili months that are dedicated to the Day of the Dead. Here is you can see this one, Xocotl, the falling of the fruits, and the Way Mikail week, the celebration for the dead. Here you can see the dancing with the Cempasúchil flowers, and this one is one of their rituals that they would dance around, and they had now in Mexico there's a tradition that is called el palo ensabado, and this is pretty much the same, where you have gifts up here and then they dance around it, and then they have to go up this pole to see who can finally get the prize to say. But that's these are the kind of rituals that they would have during these calendar dates. Here you can see more of that. The Xocotl and Way Mikail. One of the things that I discovered, which made me very, very happy in this journey of teaching the Day of the Dead ritual at UCLA, was that I was able to find not only a tradition that is kept in the Ocotepec community of talking, inviting the ancestors to come to the ofrenda. And they say, well, come and join us. We're creating this ofrenda for you, and bring your friends if they don't have anywhere to go. So I was looking at this Teyeriano Remensis Codex, and I found this, what I call the calling of the spirits reference, where it says all of the people each one in their own home would go on the rooftop of their house, and looking towards the north, they would say great prayers invoking the dead ones. Each one that was theirs there, and very loudly they would say, "Come join us, because we're waiting for you." So for me, this one was this part of this description of the month devoted to the dead, which is Waimikaiwiku. It was something that I had to preserve. It was like the jewel that I had to preserve. And so this is what I do with my students every year. We stand up and we say the names of our dearly departed. And the more and more you dig deep into this calendars, the more you find correlations in what is happening. And so this is the Tonalpohualli calendar. These are the 13 sets of 20 days. And this, I love this image because it's Ometeo. So here you have Quetzalcoatl depicting life, Ometeo, Mictlantecutli depicting death. And as one ends, it goes into this transition. It looks like a skull, but it actually means it's a transition from death to life. And if you can see here, you have the death has a heart, a living heart. So within, it's kind of like the yin yang, where you have the opposite within it. And so it turns into, here is the moment where it turns into life again. And here you have, in the middle, you have a bone pendant here, the Quetzalcoatl, and this will also transition it back into this side. These are all the signs of the 13 sets. Here you have here, and these are the other signs. So these counters, these little dots, you would go from the first one, which is on this side, and it would go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And then that trecena would end, and it would go to this side, which is Jaguar, governed by this feminine strong force. And it goes back and forth. And that's how it is read. So in these trecenas, you might have this string, but maybe you only have it to here. And so you will be balancing the spirit of your own signs. Here is, you can see this in the Borgia Codex. And here you can see, well, I call it, there's kind of 4 different messages that you can see that to nurture your own calendar sign. Here you have Chalchuclique. There's someone always sitting in a very important kind of a chair of dignity, because these are all very precious gems here, and each precious gem refers to humanity. So these are very dignified places to sit. So what is the creative force that is sitting? Here you have Chalchiplique, and she governs all of the waters, the oceans, the rivers, the horizontal waters. And that's why her name is she with a skirt of water, the precious water, Chalchiplique. And so you have a very turbulent kind of current. She's very strong. And then you have another message. It says, what do you have to do to activate this very important energy? and you have a person that is has the strength. These are the arrows and the strength that she is giving you. So if you take these, you will be strong and you won't fall. You won't fight and fall. And here, so you honor the waters. You honor the ocean. You always praise the ocean. Here in Los Angeles, go out into the ocean, thank the ocean, and that will keep you strong, you know, in your commitments. But if you don't do a ceremony, you don't do this, what will happen? So the other message is that you might fall into the current with all of your precious treasures, and everything will be lost. So there are specific messages in these, and also, you know, if you fall, your house will be dark, you will have confusion. But if you do, you honor this character, this deity, or this creative force, then you will have quetzal feathers and beautiful treasures. So these are some of the kind of hidden explanations that the Tonalpohualli, the ones who would, and the Tlacuilos were Tonalpohuallis, Tlacuilos, that they were wise and they were extremely important painters, and they would write, and each one had their whole family of systems of writing. That's why we can understand the different codices because of that, because they would have different traditions of painting in a certain way. However, they would have colors as a reference. Like red was always vibrant and energy. Yellow was when it was the season of the dry season. So it was like that moment of transition. And you can see other ones in this beautiful manuscripts, and you can see the 13 days that have to do with it. So she governs Acatl. Acatl is the reed, the one who, you know, takes the force and is the one who has a strong power to govern. It's like Se Acatl Topil Sin Quetzalcoatl. That's number one. Reed had all of this force. So each one has a way of interpretation. There's the Tonalpohualli. Again, this how you have the Tonalpohualli and Tonalpohualli coming together. And this is pretty much what I wanted to share with you today. And then we will begin with doing specific work with the Tonalpohualli tomorrow. Sarita?
See, there was one question.
Yes.
You were showing us the different forms of palabra, you know, the symbol of palabra.
Mm-hmm.
Someone did have a question. Do we have a symbol like that for singing?
Yes, singing is it's not just a little glyph like a squirrel like that. It has flowers and feathers. There was one that I showed. So the very flowery kind of speech glyph has to do with saying poetry or saying something that is very wise. But mainly what wise is the flower and song, how we have this connection of what we hear and what we see, you know, the flower and the song. So it does have that representation. And remember the glyph that I showed you of the Xochicalco monument, where you have the serpent that's going around. Well, I don't know if it has it in that particular slide, but there's some sacerdotes, there's some priests that are speaking. Yes, I think it has it. And so he's speaking, and it has flowers and feathers, and that means that he's saying something beautiful and important and wise.
Fantastic. Another question, Maestra.
Mhm.
You showed us the beautiful Coatlicue.
Mhm.
Tell us a little bit something about her size, because I just got back from the Museo de Antropología in la Ciudad de Mexico, and there she is, and she's gigantic, she's huge.
Mhm.
Right next to her, there was another one, identical to her, but her
Mhm.
Yolotlicue,
Mhm.
and her head has been destroyed, but she's
Mhm.
just like
Okay.
Licue. Yeah. What is it about the size también?
Well, the size, well, I would say that these were like they're very important monuments that they had around their rituals. In fact, they were both the Aztec, what we call Tonalpohualli, the Aztec calendar, and the Coatlicue were both found the same year in 1792 in the Zócalo. So you can imagine that it was very dramatic for the Spaniards to see those huge monuments. That they took out the Aztec calendar and they just propped them up next to the cathedral. But they put them also on the threshold there going. So they're trying to do away with it because it was so big. And the Coatlicue, well, this little maquette that I have that I always have with me. You can imagine that it's like of an encyclopedia. I mean, it's just all full of information for the people. And as the Codi says, they would wither away and they'd be destroyed. I guess it was a way of making it so solid, so big that it couldn't be destroyed. But it's just a logical idea of why I think that they would make these sculptures so big and for them, I guess it was something simple to understand. For us, it might be, oh wow, what does all this mean, and why did they do this? That was my first question. Why would they put something where it wasn't going to be seen? Because it was like, for me, it was. I go, oh my God, it's like putting an electrical cord into the outlet. If you put it on the land, it will be activated, because that's where it should be. So it's about energetic connection with glyphs, and they all have this power. Where it's not just like decorative. It's not decorative. They all have like things that are obvious. For example, Ixcuaimecatl. These are for gathering your sides of Ometecutli, Omecihuatl. I mean, they come together. You tie it in a knot, and then you can go, to the four corners and to above in the bow. So they all have symbols that are really, they give you strength, give you power.
Oh, that's so powerful. Thank you, Maestra. I remember you speaking of the skirt that Coatlicue is wearing in the back. Wearing. Would you say something about that duality in what would be considered gender norm? ¿Verdad?
Yeah, because this is a garment of the male, which is a como taparrabo, they called it, a loincloth, and it was connected with something here, and this is a skirt. This is a skirt. And so what I insist on this because hardly nobody says that. They just see the Coatlicue in the front. They say, and that's why they call it the Coatlicue. She with a skirt of snakes. And it actually should be not she, but ometeot, the concept of ometeot, the skirt or mashle, because it is a symbol of both of them. Not so much not so much woman and man, but it's the feminine principles, or what we call the night, that side of the ometeot with the other side. So it's like this combination of strength that bears something new. And it continually goes back and forth. It goes back and forth, goes into the land, goes up, and then again.
That there is no binary gender.
No, because we have a whole set of characteristics, and which ones are feminine or masculine? It's not like that. It's like we are Coatlicue. We are a combination of all of these parts. But and well, that's the way, the given name, and that's how people know about the Coatlicue. But then if you ask yourself, why is she wearing a mashle? So that's a combination. And in the other place that I showed, the codice of the in the image where there's a male person giving birth. So it's in the Borgia Codex.
Ahí está. Ahí está. So a lot of food for thought.
A lot of food for thought.
It's so exciting. I was so excited last year when you brought that up, because it's been in front of us the whole time and we don't see it. And it's the instructions have always been there. And I'm excited. Everybody, the feedback has just been mind-blowing. People are so excited.
Oh, thank you. Very happy.
Thank you, Maestra. And we look forward to tomorrow. We do have another Maestra who will be helping us with the interpretation. So we'll have a different person that will be translating, because we do want to give Maestra an opportunity, Maestra Marta, to present in Castellano.
Bueno.
So we're working on that. It didn't work out today, but hopefully tomorrow will work out with a new person.
Okay.
Okay, everybody have a wonderful evening, the rest of your day. Have a safe weekend, and we will talk to you tomorrow morning. Gracias, Maestra.
Bye-bye a todos. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Gracias, Pati.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Yay.